Now, think Audi A3 and the word sporty performance hatchback come to mind. And in fact, the A3 certainly has its fair share of car enthusiast fans. But here's what I want to do. Take off the top and slip into something a little more convertible. Is she a poser or is she for real? So summer's on the way, and there are plenty of reasons why a convertible or cabriolet would be a desirable car choice. And not all of them are practical or make sense either, but then who says having the car of your dreams needs to make sense? Now, if you appreciate brand Audi, you'll know that there are a couple of things that they do really, really well. Like the art of understated design, the clean lines, that single frame front grille, for example, which really makes a connection on the street, although it does tend to let the Audis blur into each other design-wise. And of course, love it or hate it, those LED running lights, daytime running lights. Now, some people say that they're just gimmicky. Some people say that they've already dated the Audis. But love them or hate them, it's pretty difficult to ignore them when they're up in your mirrors. Now, the 1.8-liter motor is strapped to this turbocharger, and that basically forces out this 118 kilowatts of power and 250 newton meters of torque or pulling power. And really, at the high felt, at this kind of altitude where cars tend to be a little asthmatic, that extra boost, that high revving, that high torque end is really most needed and actually quite welcome. Now, much has been made about Audi's S-tronic transmission system, which basically uses this dual clutch, and I'm quite frankly not feeling the chemistry here. It felt a bit lumpy on takeoff, and there was definite turbo lag as well. It's that kind of vacant sensation, middle of the road stuck sensation when it seems to be stuck in no man's land before it actually bites and it pushes off. 0 to 100 is respectable, 8 odd seconds, and it's got a claimed top speed of about just under 220 k's an hour. Now, in fact, the system is not quite as smooth as it claims to be. If you want to play with the individual gear selection, you can do so with the switchback pedals here on the steering wheel. But the problem with that is it turns with the wheel as well. So you've got to then resort to using the gear lever itself for changing. Now, being front-wheel drive, of course, as opposed to its competitor, the BMW 1 Series convertible, which is rear-wheel driven, the Audi does have exquisite handling, and that really is its strength. That's where the magic of this car lies. I mean, you can throw it around. It does handle beautifully. There's enough feedback. And it's got this 4-link rear suspension, which basically keeps you honest. Gives you just enough feedback, just enough fizz, without spoiling the fun. With its soft top closed, I can't help shake the feeling that it just feels a little squashed, a bit too compressed for my liking. But from the rear, it's definitely one of the better looking rear end designs in the business. Now, as these things tend to be in life, the Audi A3 certainly looks better topless than it does with its roof on. Now, of course, inside, that classy Audi understated design language still filters through. One really can't fault them for the excellent quality of the textured materials that they use, and that design inside. Certainly one of the better looking interiors that you'll come across in terms of cars in this particular range. But inside is also where the problems start for me. I mean, we're driving the Audi 1.8-liter turbo with the FSI engine, and it's got the S-tronic dual clutch transmission system. And it's retails for about 320,000 Rand. And what do you get for its standard? Well, I phoned up a dealer, and all I got was, well, yes, it's got power steering, big whoop. It's got a radio CD, it's got an aircon, and I think the fourth thing they mentioned was the central locking. Now, the problem for me is that you've got to pay another 20 grand for the sat-nav. That's another 20,000 Rand for the S-Line Sports Interior package. You've got another 6,000 Rand for the telephone prep, 7,000 Rand for the xenon headlights up front. For goodness sakes, if you want the automated roof closing system, it's another 9,000 Rand. As quick as it is, it's still a lot of money. You're talking about roughly about 80,000 Rand worth of optional extras that you've got to put into this vehicle. It takes the price of this A3 cab right over the 400,000 Rand mark. To be fair, optional extras aside, there is plenty safety and technology underpinning the A3 Cabriolet. And in fact, structurally, it's quite rigid, it's firm. There's a lot of reinforced sections in this vehicle as well that make it perfect for snaking through mountain passes or just cruising a daily route.